Well, I seriously considered becoming a professional artist before becoming a writer. And the only reason I didn't do that was because I read so many stories about starving artists when I was growing up. Of course, at the time, I didn't realize how many starving writers there were, so, if I'd known about that, I might not have gone to writing either. But the funny thing is that by becoming a writer, more people have actually seen my drawings than might have otherwise, because I've also drawn the map for the books and the dragon eye inside the book as well. I also considered, going into the sciences or doing some sort of creative thing with woodworking or metalworking. Basically anything where I got to figure things out or make things. Ultimately, that's what I really enjoy doing. I enjoy making things. And in fact, I don't even like saying I'm an author. I'm not an author, I'm a person who makes books. If I had to choose a few books, I would choose Dune by Frank Herbert, I would choose Anna Karenina by Tolstoy, and Smilla's Sense of Snow by Peter Hoag, and the Gormenghast trilogy by Mervyn Peake, and The Worm Ouroboros by E.R. Edison. I could be very happy with those books. In terms of a CD, however, that's a hard one. I would probably burn a custom CD with some Beethoven, some movie soundtracks maybe, and probably an instructional course on how to, build things from scratch. Although I've got some experience with that already. I like it to have a calm, quiet environment around me when I'm writing. I find it very hard to concentrate on the writing if people are moving or talking around me, or if there's loud machinery. But it can get too quiet, and that's why I also like listening to music, but only music that I'm familiar with, and only music without lyrics or with lyrics in a language that I don't understand. I listen to a lot of movie soundtracks. They're perfectly suited for dramatic scenes of all sorts. Although it's important to match the tone of the music to the tone of the scene you're writing. Otherwise, the music can actually interfere with what you're trying to put down on the page. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of preferences. I like to have some hot tea when I'm writing. I like to often sit on the sofa in my office. I think I've done more writing on my sofa than I have at my desk. I've written by hand, with pens, pencil, computer. None of it really matters. All that matters is what you put on the page. Well, my preference is always to write the first draft and then to edit it myself and then have other people look at it. I see no reason in sharing a manuscript with people when it's not as good as I can possibly make it. That, however, has not always been possible because of the deadlines that I work with. Sometimes there just isn't time for me to finish the manuscript and then give it to someone. So instead, I will share it with my family and my editor as I'm writing the manuscript in various chunks. My family is still my first reader, and if I get stuck, first readers, I should say, and if I get stuck on some section, I'll usually go to my sister or my parents and say, hey, let me talk this out with you and see if we can find a solution. And usually just the act of talking out the problem will allow me to solve it even before anyone suggests anything. But I trust them a great deal, and I'm very glad to have their support and their help, and their advice has been invaluable over the course of the series. I may write a prequel at some point. I've certainly thought about it, but that's not something I plan to do at any time in the near future. The problem with it, I think it would make for a very good book, but the problem with it is that everyone would know how it ends. As for a sequel to the Inheritance Cycle, yes, I will definitely write a sequel at some point. It won't technically be a sequel because the story of the cycle has concluded, but it will be in the same world and will include many of the same characters. After spending 14-some years working on this world and developing the world and the characters, I can't just abandon this world. I do need a break, and so I intend to write some other things first, but eventually I will return to Alagasia and tell some new stories. In fact, I have Book 5 already plotted out. I already know what the title is. It's just a question of writing it. But I don't think that it would be healthy for me either as a person or as a writer to jump into it right away. And I think that the book will be better if I wait a little bit and do something else. As for my next project, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to write science fiction next, but don't hold me to that because I might change my mind in the next few months. We'll see. Also, I would just add that I am incredibly grateful for all of the people who've read the series, both here in Italy and elsewhere in the world. And I hope that those who've read Inheritance and all the books in the Inheritance cycle feel that the ending was both satisfying and surprising. And I also hope that they will enjoy my future books as much or even more than the Inheritance cycle.